Over the weekend, dozens become sick and even more had to leave their homes after a gas leak and explosion in Yazoo County. Around 300 residents evacuate their carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide that leaked into the air after the incident near Satartia.
I think the leak happened, or the rupture happened, somewhere around 7 o'clock that night. The company didn't call in until somewhere around closer to 8 to say, hey, we've got a CO2 leak. So we didn't know what we had early on. And we had no idea it was CO2, which you won't smell, you won't see any of that. So fortunately, once we got closer, we could hear the leak. It sounded like a jet engine crashed in your backyard, and our vehicle started, just spitting and sputtering. So we decided to go ahead and pop in air at that point. So we were dressed head to toe as if it was a fire, natural gas, or whatever. We were covered. Me and my crew got there on the side by side, and we noticed coming in, it sounded like it was running kind of rough. Wasn't really wanting to run very well. And we were passing these cars that were sitting in the middle of the highway, headlights on, maybe the flashers on some of them, doors open, some not open. Nobody around these vehicles. It was like they just vanished. So we continued on into town. There was a deputy from Yazoo County that had started searching door to door. He had no protection on. And finally, he got in bad shape, just like everybody else was coming out of there. So we had to get him out of the hot zone to get medical treatment. They were just laying there, vomit covered on the ground, waiting on the ambulance to get there. Come up on another vehicle on that gravel road. He said, have a vehicle. It's like, yeah. Got victims. Like, I made the same face. I was like, uh-oh. And at that point, our vehicle was not running well at all. It was like just spitting and sputtering. And so we bailed out, and I told our driver, I was like, just go away. Go find somewhere where this thing will run. Even if we have to bring them to you, drag them back to you, just don't let it die. So he did that. He got turned around. We started busting windows. Looking inside there, I didn't think they were alive. Just from outside the window, you could barely see any respirations. They were all slumped over the seat. All of them had foam coming out of their mouth, and you get to watch them a little closer. They may have been breathing 6 times a minute, 8 times a minute, which is it's not good. Once we got them out and got them in ambulances, which was another ordeal in a rural community, getting multiple ambulances there. Most communities like that only have one. And once you fill it up, that's it. So we'd had some more coming from surrounding cities and counties. At that point, the command post said that the Weather Service had done a plume model to see where this gas went. And based on that plume model, it went through the village, across a river, and into some agricultural fields where it had some sporadic housing. I think we got an additional 8 out of those houses and brought them back to be taken to the hospital. And I think 40 to 50 people were taken to the hospital that night. After the event, we went closer to the site, and everything was ice. The road was ice, the trees were ice, the wildlife was ice, everything was ice. That's the only way I knew it was some type of CO2. Just everything was frozen.